What's going on, everybody? Here in my garage reading some books and getting book smart like Ty Lopez. I think that's his name, the guy with the Lamborghini who said, here in my garage, and I'm going to show you how to be an entrepreneur and get a Lambo. That guy. Anyways, I'm here in my garage today, but I'm with my 1955 Chevy Bel Air two-door hardtop sport coupe. That's a lot of stuff right there. But you know, a lot of YouTubers, you watch videos, they show videos of their cars, and it's always the same thing. It's like Lamborghinis, Audi R8s, BMW i8s, I think they are, Ferraris, all that stuff, same stuff. They're really cool, don't get me wrong. If I could afford a Lambo, I would probably have one, and it would probably be lime green or like bright orange. But right now, I've got my dream car, and this is a car that I've thought about, I've fantasized about, and just thought was so cool since I was like 4 years old. I remember I was at Walmart with my grandpa, and we were walking by the toy aisle, and they had some old cars, like the little collectible ones about this big right here. That's what she said. And there was a Bel Air, and I think it was a 57 Bel Air, and it was baby blue. And I remember my grandpa was like, I used to have one like that. And I think he actually had a 55 Bel Air instead of a 57. I can't remember. It was so long ago, but his was baby blue. But since then, I've just always thought the Bel Airs were so cool. These cars right here, starting with this one, the 1955 6 and 7, the Tri-5s. These cars, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with Chevy, that's what made Chevy famous. I mean, Chevy had cars before that, but this really put Chevy on the map. And I was very fortunate enough to pick this car up at the end of March, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. There's so much cool history to this car, and I just wanted to share it with y'all. I know I got a lot of younger viewers out there, and one cool thing about vehicles, a lot of you guys may know if you follow me on Instagram at ZachCoxTV that I'm a car guy, but a car, truck, anything that looks cool. I've had tons of custom rides, and the cool thing about vehicles is that it brings people together. You know, it just all demographics, old, young, black, white, purple, middle-aged, everybody. You know, I can take this car out to the gas station. There's 10 people that come up. That's an exaggeration, but there's always people coming up telling me about, you know, cool car, or hey, my grandpa used to have one of these, and we used to ride around when I was kids, or I used to have one of these, you know. So it's cool what vehicles can do in just about anything, just getting to know people and bringing people together. It's a lot of happiness. It spreads a lot of happiness in this big old cruel world. So that said, if y'all enjoyed, give this video a big thumbs up, and I just want to show this car off to y'all. I'm going to talk a lot and kind of go over some of the history of this car. So I'm actually the fourth owner of this car. This car is 64 years old, 64, 65 years old. And it's mostly original. And like I said, I'm fourth owner. So history of this car goes, the original owner sold this car around 1985. He bought it brand new and sold it in 1985 or around there to a gentleman in Texas. It's always been a Texas car. I'm in Oklahoma, so now it's an Oklahoma car. But he sold it to this gentleman, and this man actually passed away a year or two after acquiring the car in a motorcycle accident. So apparently this car from 1985 up until around 2006 just sat in a storage unit, just not being touched all those years. And in 2006, the second owner's son ended up with the car, and he apparently was not too mechanically inclined, nor had the funds to do much to the car, so it was just kind of as is. And then in 2016, the gentleman that I bought the car from actually got this car, took it down to the bare metal, had it repainted. So the paint is only 2 years old on this car, and he had the seats reupholstered. And the seats are kind of true to the factory look, except these cars did not come with white leather. It had the red leather and the same pattern right here, but it had like a yellow cloth type material. And he ended up going with the white leather because that cloth gets dirty pretty easy. A couple pieces of trim are not original, like these bottom pieces right here, because they were so pitted and just bent up from rocks and just wear and tear over the years. But all the other trim you see is original glass, all that stuff. And this is just a really cool car. For me, it was either red, and this is actually a cream, like beige color. It doesn't look like that here in the garage. Or baby blue and like an ivory white. But for my younger viewers out there who've never really seen any of these cars like up close and personal, they had so much bling to them. Back in the 50s, it was all about bling. Like right here on the taillight, you've got this little gem. It's actually kind of purple, and it's just a gem. It's just there, and pretty cool stuff like that. I mean, you can tell just by the Chevy emblems and badges here on the back. You got the fleur de lis or something like that right there, and just all this bling. And this car's got some cool like factory upgrades that came original with the car. Like most Bel Airs, you don't see with these corner pieces on the bumper here. Those are factory accessories or add-ons you could have got when ordering this car. These tips right here, also original as well. Car's a little dirty. I didn't actually get to clean the chrome when I washed it last week, or 2 weeks ago. I washed this car 2 weeks ago, and it's the first time that this paint has ever seen water since it got painted. Under the hood, this is not original as well, and we'll actually circle around to the front. Same thing for the bumper on the front. Got these pieces right here that you don't normally see too much. And it's got the original grille. The owner that I got it from, he said he wanted to keep a lot of originality to the car, or as much as possible. So it's pretty cool. And here we got the big old bird, big old hood ornament. And to open the hood on these cars, there's actually a little latch under here. And you just pull up. And the engine bay is pretty clean. It's got a 350 in it. And like I said, that is not original. Being that this is the two-door hardtop sport coupe, this would have come with a 265, I believe, which was one of like the very first V8 motors, if I'm not mistaken, or an inline six. I get them all confused sometimes, but it's pretty clean under here. We got a 350. That's about it. I would like to do an LS, like a Corvette engine, or just a 5.3. Probably a 5.3, a bit on the cheaper side, because engines and stuff get expensive quick. That's under the hood. And I guess I could take y'all inside. So one cool thing, and this is to my younger viewers out there, or anybody that just doesn't know about the Bel Airs, you might notice that in between here, there's no post. You know, most cars have like a post right here, where there would be, you open the door, there's just a post. Well, this one doesn't. And that's being that this is the Sport Coupe. This is like, if you're familiar with Denali's and GMC's and Chevys and High Countries, this is like the High Country of Bel Airs. There is a normal like Bel Air 210, which would have a big white post right here, and just kind of a base model style car. But we open the door, I'll show y'all. We actually can just crank up the windows, crank up that soldier boy, and there we go. That makes your post right there. So that's really cool. It's one of my favorite things about this car. It's definitely a big selling point for me. I had to have the two-door sport coupe. Now, inside, going back to just talking about some of the originality, these door panels are actually original. They are from the factory, 1955. Because the car sat in storage for so long, it's just insane. This is original. This is 64 or 5 years of door panel right here, and it looks almost brand new. It's insane. So inside, I said the seats have been reupholstered and we've got new carpet. Other than that, everything is pretty much original. At some point, somebody added in an old air conditioner, and I'll definitely end up changing that. Right now, we don't have a radio. So it had an old cassette radio. It wasn't factory, and I ordered a brand new one, and it came in broken. So the new one's actually going to be here tomorrow on Monday. And the radio I got, I spent a decent amount of money. And the reason being is that it looks just like the factory radio did that came in these cars, except it's got Bluetooth capabilities, Sirius XM, all that good stuff. These cars actually didn't have like speakers that you would see in your normal car down here in the kick panels. This is like your fresh air vents. You know, you can pull this and it lets fresh air in. The speaker in these cars was actually right here behind here, and this one actually has the dash speaker that still works. Now, this was a clock. It doesn't work. It goes back to what I was saying with the bling. It's all about bling, or it was in these days. So much chrome all along the window sills here, all the way around. Even the lights work. And this headliner, that is factory headliner as well, just like those door panels. Insane. And the visors, all that stuff, they still work. So, bling, check out this. The little Chevy bow ties right here, all along the dash trim. And then this would be your little glove box right here. This car actually came with factory air conditioning. A lot of those back then didn't. That was definitely, that was a big upgrade. A lot of the amenities that come standard in cars now, back then, you had to have a lot of money to actually be able to afford those. So we got the big old boat steering wheel. This car does have power steering and power brakes. It's got disc brakes up front and drums in the rear. For my younger viewers out there, if you're wondering why these steering wheels are so big, well, these cars didn't have power steering, so you had to have these big diameter steering wheels to be able to actually turn and turn a bit easier. Seat belts, cool little fun fact for y'all. These cars did not come with seat belts. Vehicles alone didn't come with seat belts until the year 1972, I believe. I think it was 1972, and a law was passed in the United States that cars from here on out have to be manufactured with seat belts. As you can tell, these cars didn't really take into consideration safety. There was no airbags, a lot of big old metal. It would have been bad if you got in a wreck. So cars that were made before 1972 and before this law passed do not have to have seat belts. These were just added in at a later date. And you can never get a seatbelt ticket, excuse me, I believe, in a car that is older than 1972 because they weren't made with them. So that you couldn't be forced to actually have a seatbelt. Pretty spacious rear. It's my ghetto speaker right now for the time being until I get my new radio. Actually got some two 6-inch speakers and some custom kick panels. I'm gonna get painted and we're gonna have here, and then we're gonna put two 6x9s in the rear package tray, I want to say they call it. I can actually show y'all the trunk too. Here's some of the speakers and the kick panels and stuff I was telling y'all about. Got a cool little gas pump. 50s were cool, man. Love the 1950s. Open up this side here. Same thing. All the original stuff. And take a look at the actual cluster here. This is pretty cool. So it's got 16,000 miles on it. That's not original. For those of you who don't know, these cars only went up to 100,000 miles on the cluster here, and then it rolled over and started back at 0. This is where you would turn your headlights on. You got your windshield wipers. And I don't know if we got power to the car, if we can do this, but yeah, because the car's not on. But the windshield wipers are cool. They actually go, and they go the opposite way than most cars. Down here, you might see this little switch. You might be thinking, what is that? Well, that's how, my toes, that's how you turn your brights on and off. So that's pretty cool. A lot of people don't actually know that when they see these older cars. But I'll take you around to the trunk. And in the trunk, you have to use the key to open it. But it's really clean. This car had no expenses spared during the build process 2 years ago. You got your spare tire right here. This would be your jack to jack up the car. And then you got your instructions. They even put those back in there. Crazy. But overall, this is a very beautiful car. It's a car that I only dreamt about, and somehow I have it right here, right now. And I'm so very blessed, so very thankful. And I just want to thank all of you guys for the support on the videos and stuff. Like I said, I know I got a lot of car fans out there, car guys, truck guys. I like anything that looks cool. Chevy, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, all that stuff. If it looks cool, lifted, lowered, I love it. And we all got our own taste, but I like to connect with you guys a little more outside of games and stuff. I haven't been posting much lately, just been in a funk, man. Just been in a big old funk. And anyways, just want to show the car with y'all. Like I said, we got a lot of car fans probably watching the channel, and it's kind of cool just to get to know you guys a little better. Let me know down below in the comments, what is your favorite classic car? Do you have one? Classic car, truck? I think a second favorite for me would be like the Chevy Apaches or the GMC Apaches. I don't know which one it is, but just the old like 50s trucks. They're really cool, especially when they're slammed to the ground. Anyways, hopefully y'all enjoyed this video and checking out the car. If you have your own cars, or your parents, or your dad, or your grandpa, tweet at me, Zach Cox TV. I want to see what you guys have as well. I love cars, love you guys. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next video.